What's up, everybody? Brothers, sisters, psychonauts, and seekers of truth. It is Ananka, and welcome to my bazaar. Today, I have a GHB / Amanita Muscaria chirp report for you. The title of this chirp report is The Hammock of Life, and was submitted to Erowid in 2004 by the user Gorgon. With all that being said, let our story begin. We were hungry and went grocery shopping. What a disaster that was. But came back with our supplies along with tons of food. We were going to take them differently this time. I vaguely recall reading a few different preparations, and the most common seems to be in a tea. Once, I read that someone sautéed the mushrooms. That's almost what we did. We've tried grinding them up in a coffee grinder and then encapsulating them, and we get mountains of powder and hundreds of capsules to swallow if we want at least 10 grams. No thanks. I ground them up once and mixed them into a fruity gelatin. Do not do that. Do not do that. The mushroom powder is dispersed unevenly, and it's gross and ugh. We've also just eaten them. That was hard. The crispy, bland flavor just was edible once. I couldn't do it again. It was not bad, but my stomach gave me that, what are you even thinking about eating, sort of tenseness that rejected the mushrooms regardless of its not being terrible. So this time, we decided to have a swirly to drink, orange soda, grape soda, etc. mixed together, with a little GHB to calm us down. That was at 1:45 p.m. We also had a pizza we bought, pre-prepared but not frozen, and thought to put the mushrooms on that. I counted out 30 grams, and you know what? That's a lot on a pizza. We decided to just bake the pizza anyway. I decided, let's sauté them, and I grabbed the cookbook. It was essentially melt a lot of butter and throw herbs and salt into it. Mix, throw in mushrooms, wait 10 minutes, and then eat. This is a recipe I can follow. I combined 2 teaspoons of olive oil, 10 teaspoons of butter, 4 cut sprigs of fresh thyme, 2 teaspoons of golden balsamic vinegar, some garlic salt, and some onion salt, and mixed them up. Nothing to do with the recipe aside from the butter. It should be noted that I started to write the submission a good 1.5 hours after ingesting the mushrooms. At 2 p.m. we started to eat them. We did not add the mushrooms to the melted butter mixture when cooking. Rather, we allowed them to soak a bit before eating them. It should also be noted that we had previously dried the mushrooms in the oven. They were sitting around waiting to be used. For nausea, my girlfriend prepared ginger tea for us. We actually purchased ginger root and cut it up. I suppose we had about a rhizome. I can't spell it. Perhaps the size of her thumb, and used that. This made for a pretty strong pot of tea, but the ginger can be reused once, which we did, but ended up not needing to drink it. Also, keeping in mind that a little food with the mushrooms is good for preventing nausea, we had a small amount of sushi rolls, perhaps 3 for both of us. By the time we started eating, the GHB had begun to kick in, and I had started playing music from the theme of the Animatrix. I took off my shirt, leaving my undershirt on. As I recall, Amanita made me sweaty. Unfortunately, she did not disrobe. Anyway, the meal was pleasant, The mushroom preparation was fantastic. I cannot suggest it enough. There was no mushroom taste. It was all butter and garlic and good stuff. We ate everything. Stems, heads, caps, gills, halves, and remnants. The stems had to soak a little longer than the caps, and were a little odd to eat. We were using the chopsticks we used for the sushi. This actually worked out very well overall, but we managed. I started to feel my first signs of stomach disruption, perhaps at 2:36. Nothing big, just like it didn't know what to do with what I had given it. I had actually finished eating at 2:30. She still had perhaps 3 small caps to go at that time. By 2:47, I was putting laundry away, and she was putting away the dishes. I could feel something happening, not unpleasant. The best I can relate it to, and I am still feeling it now and then at 3:39, is a niacin flush, without looking flushed and not so intense in the sensation. It first started in my abdominal area, and then relocated, not flowed, to my face. It felt like I was getting a niacin rush in my eyes by 3 o'clock. Very interesting, not unpleasant at all. By 3:10, my vision was becoming blurry. I had started to write a list of things to do for the day. And when I looked up to idly stare across the room and think, I noticed I couldn't read any of the book titles on my bookshelf. At this point, I decided to head to the computer and start writing a trip report. 3:43. I just finished writing everything you've read. Presently, my wrists are sweating. I feel that flush in my cheeks. My arms are sweating. Heck, now that I've done a full body scan, I am sweating. Eyes are not dilated. Girlfriend is nowhere to be found and music is not playing. 2 minutes later, I found my girlfriend. She's reading a book, or she's trying to. She is unable to focus and her vision is becoming blurry. Mine is so blurry now that I would be unable to drive if in otherwise perfect conditions. I cannot approximate the visual acuity that I have, but focus drops off after a few feet. Hunched over a keyboard, I guess I can understand not noticing the vision go so quickly. I find that when walking, I sometimes make an exaggerated movement. Now I find that I am sweating, perhaps more like misting the sweat rather than raining it, and that I am chilly. I can feel the chill mostly on my arms, which are exposed. The house temperature is about 65, which is about where I like it. I have to attribute the chills to the mushroom. I can now feel a patch of wetness forming on my upper back, but I'm not cold there. It seems the chills are mostly going up and down my arms, and my hands now are feeling, a pleasurable, tingly chill. But like they are sweating, the backside of my palms are. I paused from typing to rub my face, and I felt a chill on my face wherever my hand touched. Not a chill, a sudden cold feeling, followed immediately by a cessation of the cold, and instead it was being pleasurable, like a woman's hair brushing against my skin. It's 3:51, and I'll go find something else to report. My girlfriend and I had been wanting to do these for a while. It has been a few years since our last experience. And at that time, she was doing great and had a wonderful time, and I didn't feel much of anything. We had made a stir fry once to try to ingest them, and I don't believe we got an even split. We intended to have 10 grams each, but that doesn't seem to be the case. So she did great, and I sat around bored. Anyway, this time, we decided we wanted to do them during the day, as normally our experiences were at night. We believe it was from when we lived with our parents. We'd wait until they got to bed. It became somewhat of a tradition to take something at night. At 3:54, my girlfriend says she is seeing rainbow patterns underneath the text of the book she is reading. I believe I see them now and then, too, when I am writing. At 4:14, finally saw some visuals. I was reading and listening to Chapter House. Girlfriend was still reading. I looked up at one point to, again, stare blankly in space and ponder, and saw the reflection of a pool of water on the wall as it dappled. Yes, there was water to cast that reflection. It happens daily on schedule, based on if the sun's out and where it's at in the sky. As I looked at it, I noticed what I thought were very faint jellyfish mounted on the wall. Not mounted, but floating there. I closed my eyes and could very faintly see them, but better with them open. The wall was white. The jellyfish-like whatever it was yellow. I soon noticed the outline of many of them, all swimming in place, pointing in different directions. When I turned my head, they did not go with my field of vision. I turned my head completely and looked back. They were still there, but I was unable to see them from a different angle and side, depending on how I turned my head. Also, I have had, and so has my girlfriend, frequent bouts of salivation. For no reason, whammo, I needed to swallow a lot of saliva. I am still sweating frequently, and it is enjoyable to type, as it gives my hands a pleasurable sensation. My girlfriend hasn't anything new to report, other than further deterioration of vision, and the rainbows in her reading have become more pronounced. Like if she had a sudden magic rainbow active desk, or something stupid like that. By 5 o'clock, we've eaten some of the pizza, had more soda, that's about it. It is a pleasant day. Everything feels pleasant. The dapple on the wall is gone, and instead of jellyfish-like things, there were circles that would grow and shrink into themselves, perhaps like a Winamp visual, although in yellow wire frame. I am no longer sweating, but did so for most of the time so far. We are thinking about eating the cookie dough that I bought. The last few times, food tasted so good when deeply affected by Amanita. We were hoping the same would happen, and bought some things we like but don't normally have, in hopes it will feel better. One change? This is still the same stream of thought, or my brain is a runaway freight train. Is that I am now actually feeling a bit cold. When reading, I felt momentarily like I was close to having too much to drink. But when I realized it was grape soda I was drinking, the feeling immediately went away. I feel extra energy and lazy at the same time. I decided to test if the energy meant strength, and picked up one of the dumbbells neither of us use that we have lying around. It was profoundly heavy. I lifted it over my head and put it back down, and I could feel the sinews in my right elbow work, and something pop as I lifted and lowered the weight. This is not to say that I am a skinny computer geek. I work out on a daily basis, Okay, so I'm just a computer geek. But this dumbbell was 5 pounds, and I used my right arm. And I am accustomed to lifting 40 pounds over my head with my right arm. So, it is interesting. I feel like I could do push-ups or sit-ups or whatever. And the moment I start, tired. The energy isn't there. If it's the thought that counts, it's not accomplishing much. I just did 2 push-ups. I think I felt and heard every bone in my left hand pop or crack. After that, I decided perhaps I could do something else. Take my pulse. My pulse is 88. It is typically about 60. 5:41. Well, nothing too exciting. We ate the cookie dough. She was in bliss. I guess that's exciting. She ate and sat and stared and moaned as she ate it, saying how great it was. It tasted to me like, well, cookie dough. Not good, not bad, but like I was not hungry and not particularly affected even though it is a treat. She also likes to eat dietary disasters as much as she can, and perhaps that is part of it. With the situation of bliss in mind, we engaged in some exercises. This worked out pretty well, as I was able to go to the hilt, where, on normal occasions, I was forbidden to do so due to her having pain. It was quite different. She actually encouraged the behavior, not wanting to be one to disappoint. 5:42. Unfortunately, this didn't last nearly as long as either of us had hoped. But the bed felt so nice, and tactile sensations were so pleasant, we decided to take a nap. I recall at one point having a very vivid, colorful, if somewhat nonsensical dream, and being warned to ignore the noises I heard. What I heard sounded like popping, explosions, gunshots. I woke up. I heard fireworks outside. Here it is, the first time I take a nap with something that, well, no sense getting into that. I quickly started to focus on what I was dreaming on, and it was slipping away at light speed. What made sense before I woke up suddenly seemed so surreally stupid. I didn't know how I was so accepting of it. Then, I couldn't remember what it was. Dejected, I lay back down and fell back asleep. At 7:30, I awoke, needing to use the bathroom. I had no plans to save any for later usage. Girlfriend was giggling in her sleep. 15 minutes later, I had decided to actually get up, feeling quite refreshed, when she suddenly asked how I felt, and I told her and relayed all of the above to her that she had missed. She, too, had been awoken by the fireworks outside, so I knew it wasn't just me dreaming them and waking myself up with the idea. She was unable to recall any of her dreams, but was not keen on the idea of getting out of bed. She did express an interest in alcohol, but I am not sure that would be a good idea, so I declined. Absinthe she wanted in particular, and while this mushroom trip was more of a trip to the mailbox and back rather than a full-blown one, I am still skeptical the liver would be too happy with alcohol, let alone absinthe in addition to the AM. 8 o'clock, that's now. No more chills. Just realized vision is much better. Yet, that's how I knew it was 7:30. 7:45, clock across the room I was in was legible. No flush feelings, no visuals. I feel quite pleasant though, like I spent the entire day doing nothing and thoroughly enjoyed it. It wasn't even like I was upset with the time spent waiting for the effect. Someone else had said their feeling was as if they were embraced rather than grabbed, and feel more like someone patted my head and praised me for getting good grades or something. Since I am an adult, that sensation is not something I have experienced in quite some time. At least, I haven't taken praise that way in quite some time. Girlfriend says she feels very nice. Upset there wasn't more, but not disappointed at all. Summary: 1.5 grams GHB, 15 minutes before beginning to eat 15 grams of Amanita muscaria. The GHB was to reduce anxiety and hopefully reduce any side effects. Virtually no side effects were noticed. No negative side effects were noticed, aside from the short exercise time, and no nausea. A pleasant and content feeling the entire time. If I could feel like that on a daily basis, I could deal with turning 112. I might not have accomplished anything, but I wouldn't have regretted it. As for the girlfriend, she would liken her mood to feeling like a cat in a sunbeam, getting a good back scratch. Why do anything when you can feel like this? Even if the back scratch went away, it's still too nice to not stretch and think about things. All right, everybody. That is the end of our story. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Share with us your GHB experiences down in the comments below. Check out the other videos and playlists on my channel. And I will see you in the next one, fam. Deuces.